This is Scott the Fix-It Guy, and those were the sounds of a broken motor coupler on the Series 80, Series 70, Series 90 washer. So we're going to unplug the washing machine and we're going to repair it by first removing the two trim plates here on the right and left hand side. And this is the part number for the new motor coupler. You can get these online pretty cheap. And these motor couplers fail when the machine is overloaded. So we're going to pull off the right trim plate and the left trim plate, and we're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove two Phillips head screws that hold on the top control console. Here's the left hand side, and these just spin out pretty easily. They're in at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to pull the washing machine out away from the wall a little bit because we want to take the control panel and lean it back, but we need some room. So I'm going to pull it away from the wall by about maybe 10 inches. So I'll pull it toward me, and then that'll release the little legs that hold it. I'll lean it back, and then I'm going to disconnect the lid switch connector here, a modular connector. I lift up, pull that out of the way, and there's two brass clips I'm going to disconnect using a standard head screwdriver. I pry them off, one on the right, and I'll pry off the one on the left, and these are holding the cabinet onto the chassis. So I got that out of the way. I'm going to open up the lid and grab the whole cabinet and just pull it toward me, and then I can get that out of the way. That'll give me better access to the motor so I can do the motor coupler exchange. So these are pretty light, just made out of sheet metal, so you can lift them up and get them out of your way. Now that the cabinet's removed, we have real good, easy access to the parts. It's a really good design. I'm going to remove this electrical connector for the motor, and then I'm going to remove the water pump clips. If these aren't kind of tight, you can use a standard head screwdriver to help you remove them. You just pry them off. It's a really clever design. I wish they still made this washing machine because it's so durable, but no longer made. So I'm going to pull this off the motor shaft, kind of wiggle it off, and just set it off to the side. You don't have to disconnect the hoses, you can just leave them connected. Now we have access to the motor, and I'm taking off these little clips that hold on the water pump. I'm going to grab the two leads that are on the capacitor. Make sure you don't touch those leads because they're still energized. And then there's a little thermal coupler connector that I'm going to pull apart. And now all the electrical connectors are disconnected from the motor. 1/4 inch lefty loosey. Got one out. So this is the water pump. We got that out of the way. This is a 1/4 inch screw at the bottom. Here we go. And we remove the modular connector for the motor. Now we're going to use a standard head screwdriver. We're going to remove this bracket and this bracket, and then the motor can come out. Here's the bottom one. You're going to want to kind of support it when you remove the top one. There we go, this top one. And then you can grab the motor, kind of wiggle it towards you. There we go. And the reason that it wasn't spinning is this thing, which is called the motor coupler, was cracked right there. So the motor shaft, this thing was spinning really fast. I'm sorry, the motor shaft here was trying to spin the transmission shaft, but it wasn't moving it because this had cracked. It was just spinning. So this usually occurs due to overloading the washing machine with either too many items or real heavy items, and this thing will break rather than destroying the motor. So
we're just going to put a new one in. The new ones are actually built a little bit better. They're a little bit more robust. So you may need to use a standard head screwdriver to pry off either the one that's connected to the motor shaft or to the transmission shaft. So just kind of wiggle underneath, get that one out. If it's stuck on the transmission shaft, and it's kind of hard to get off, like in this case, we're just going to put this back on for fun. What you can do is use a standard head screwdriver, come in behind this plate, so we can show you guys. Come in from underneath. You can see that screwdriver, and then that can give you some leverage to work it loose. Okay, so we're going to put on the new one, and the new one has a metal insert rather than plastic, so it's going to last longer than just the plastic. So it's pretty cool. It's an improvement. This rubber piece just helps take the shock, so the plastic pieces are less likely to break. We'll put one on the motor shaft, and it only fits one way because there's a flat part of the coupler and a flat part on the motor shaft. And usually you got to tap it on a little bit because it won't go on far enough by itself. You can just take a small hammer, and I usually use something like a socket. Put that on the metal, just tap it. Now it's the shaft end and the motor coupler are in the same plane, so that looks good. We'll do the same thing for the one on the transmission shaft. Transmission shaft. Let's put the guy back on. So it's on there, but I got to knock it down about another 1/8 of an inch. So I'll take my socket with the extension, tap it on there. A little bit further. There we go. I'm gonna put on the motor cup, or I'm gonna put on the rubber coupler. Put that, and then you get this 3-prong thing. I'll get this at the 12 o'clock position, the center at the 12 o'clock position. Put on that rubber piece. All right, and then on the motor. So instead of having this at 12 o'clock, I'm going to put that pin down at 6 o'clock. There's the top of the motor. And these two will fit in right there, and that one will fit in down there. So this part, just take your time. I'm going to make sure these rubber cushions are in position. 4 of them. So we got 4 of them in position on the transmission plate. These pins on the motor will go into that. These pins will go into the motor coupler. Just take your time, and as you're putting these in, if they're not aligned right, you can grab from underneath here, see my finger, and you can move it to line it up. Alright. So we're going to put this bracket in. Goes in and then turns. And we get the motor in position. Motor's kind of heavy. Bottom one's already ready. Top one's here. Just have to line up that motor coupler. So it's back working again. And this is the part that it broke. It just cracked. It got overloaded. Called the motor coupler. So we replaced that. And now it's working again. And here's during the spin mode.
Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance. Thank you.